Da-da, it's gonna take you back to 2014 to review this fucking movie. You'd rather have Michael Bay direct more Transformers. You'd rather have Tarantino quit while he's ahead. You'll down it with some pop, cause he's not 21 yet. Da 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 da, I'm ripping off the nerd for my video review, so it's okay. Wait, the song goes on longer? Okay, tune it to channel video. He wears AC/DC shirts. That was a really rush lyric. He's got a remote and kind of cusses sometimes. I don't know, man. He's never fought Freddy Krueger. That's totally not an electrical hazard. Marvel McDonald just took a dump. I would review the shit out of that. I'll review games some fucking day. He reviews the worst movies of all time. Okay, this isn't one of them. It's actually pretty good. It's not that bad, guys. An abomination of mankind. He makes so mad he can shit or say, "Cowabunga, man. Don't have a cow, man." So now it's time to start my review, I hope. Because this is a long intro. I'm actually running out of things to say. Why can't a turtle get up? Why can't Tom Cruise land a plane? Yeah, that was a Turtles 3 reference. This is like Super Mario Brothers, they got the names wrong. Man, that was a tame parody. He's the angriest reviewer you've ever heard. He's totally ripping off the nerd. Come on, I don't see how that correlates. He's the angry reviewer. Fuck. Caligula. I'll review that soon. Okay, can you just say video game? He's the angry review. Fuck it. Hello, I am here to review James Rolfe directional debut, the angry video game nerd movie, co-written with Kevin Finn, also known as The Game Glitch. Yeah, I love James Rolfe's work, man. I was so excited for this movie. Everyone was excited for it. Everyone was ready to love this movie, man. Although it was pretty good. It was kind of disappointing, but I'll get into that. So basically, this all came about from this little cool story. When the AVGN first came out, everybody loved them. It was one of the first awesome video reviews, some of the first angry reviews out there. So, nostalgia critic, cinema snob, they wouldn't have been there without the AVGN. So basically, he's kind of a pioneer in the video review shit. So, everybody wanted to review E.T. because it's considered to be one of the worst games of all time, and it has a cool backstory to it, which is the landfill story that it was so bad that all the unsold cartridges, were put in a landfill somewhere in the New Mexico desert. So the nerd thought, well, James Rolfe himself thought, that's too good of a story for an episode. I might make it into a movie because James Rolfe has always wanted to make movies, man. And that's the passion I see in him that I really, really want to make movies with. Like seriously, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he wants to do, and he's gonna do it. So let's talk about this movie. For those of you losers that don't know who the AVGN is, let me explain. Angry Video Game Nerd is a review series. A guy reviews shitty old video games by none other than James Rolfe himself, this guy right here. And he also wrote, directed, edited, and produced the movie based on his character. Now, the reason he made a movie out of this is because, well, it's his most known property. So this movie was going to sell, and it's going to be his first feature. So I kind of give him props for that. I mean, the fans wanted an E.T. review, so he gave him a movie. He did his first movie. So it's kind of a win-win, unless you hate the movie, unlike me. But I have very strong opinions about it. So this movie was completely crowdfunded, meaning all the money came from the fans. So this was a movie for the fans, by the fans, literally. So James had all the money he could get to make the best movie possible. He had a budget of 350,000. I was about to say million. I was to say that's way too much money. No, so it was a low budget movie, considering that big budget movies range from 1 million to 50 million to 100 million, depending on their budget. So let's say it's an action movie. Some action movies in the 90s cost 30 million. Now in 2000s, 2010s, it's about 50 million. Now we're talking about a big Marvel movie that's more than the 10 millions, 100 millions. So like Avengers would be 100 million or half a mil, or like I don't know. Like they're insane budgets. I mean, I think Dragon Ball Evolution cost 100 million. I'm not kidding. That's an actual thing. But James was given enough money to get enough props to actors to make a big production. Like he had auditions, he had everything. Like if you look through the inside look or the cast interviews, or if you buy the Blu-ray, which I highly recommend buying, because oh my god, it's full with so many stuff. Like I mean, just watch this snippet of video I'm about to put right now.
That's about 10 hours of bonus video material. If you count the exclusive audio track.
I'm gonna stop you right there, James. I already plugged your stuff enough. I don't know. I can't share that much in clips. Anyway, so basically, the Blu-ray literally has 16 hours, so it really shows this was a legit production. That this really was his first big movie, which is amazing to anybody who's ever wanted to make movies. They're actually gonna make a huge movie that's gonna impact the fans. It's gonna screen all over the world. It was screened Canada, America, like not all over the world, but I mean like all over the country, North America, Canada, this way. But it's shown over the world, and digital and Blu-ray ships all over the world. So this guy got to see as many people who want to see a movie get the movie. Now, before I get into more of it, you've already heard the landfill story of his creation, of how he wanted to make this big movie out of it. Now, originally, James said it was going to be like Wayne's World, like a fake TV show gets its production, but really it's more of an action adventure comedy, sci-fi, and all this weird shit with a nerd. Because if you've seen these videos, it's they're very, not, I wouldn't say supernatural, but they're very out of reality. Like, the nerd fights Freddy Krueger, nerd fights Jason, Batman, all these different fictional characters, Bugs Bunny, Spider-Man. So the nerd is very used to seeing all this type of shit. In this movie is this quest to go to the landfill because he hates ET. He's very phobic of it, as seen in the web series. So basically, he's gonna go out to prove that there's nothing down there, so people can stop begging about ET and stop being scarred by it by playing the game from curiosity, just because of the landfill story. So he wants to debunk it. He goes, and there's something way bigger there. So the reason I'm doing this review now could be a huge retrospective review and my thoughts on the movie and how it impacted the nerd himself. I mean, this was huge, man. I mean, this movie was 8 years in production. Like, since 2007 to 2014. The 7 is when they started writing the script, around that time. Because Angry Video Game Nerd started in 2006, so by the first season, by 2007, he's already being requested ET. That's when he announced he's going to start writing the script for the movie. Then years later, he got in contact with Kevin Finn, who I would go into more about how that worked. So basically, it is the nerd's quest to find that landfill and say, this shit ain't true. Stop bugging me. Stop fighting this game. This game is horrible. Don't play it. Don't play it, guys. It's him trying to save the fans from a horrible game. Now, that's what the nerd does.
We need to prevent future generations from being emotionally scarred.
Dude, you can't do that. It's the most popular bad game of all time.
I heard that Atari recalled all of the cartridges and buried them somewhere in the middle of the desert because the game was so bad.
How can you dispute the dozens of eyewitness accounts?
You really believe they buried 2 million cartridges in a fucking desert? If we find any games under that sand, I'll review it. In fact, I'll play every single one of them.
Now, if you notice, Black Nerd Comedy was in that video. Now, this movie is cameo galore from various YouTubers, from Nostalgia Critic, from NES, Pat the NS Punk, just a bunch of people that the nerd's cool with that want to be in the movie. But the biggest, best cameo in the fucking movie is
And
Lloyd Kaufman. Yes,
This is terrific.
yes,
Goat's
fucking Lloyd
penis.
Kaufman. Now, if you know me personally, I don't know why you would, but Lloyd Kaufman is one of my biggest inspirations as a filmmaker. He is the co-creator with co-founder, I mean, with Michael Hertz of my favorite independent film company of all time, Troma. Troma Entertainment, man. They are so weird. They're so weird. They're so cool. I mean, one of their staples is a giant penis monster ever since Romeo and Juliet. Funny thing is, James Gunn, writer and director of Guardians of the Galaxy, worked for these guys. He wrote Romeo and Juliet and went on to write the Scooby-Doo movies. Romeo and Juliet was a movie with Romeo and Juliet with incest. Then he went to write Super, which was a scene that includes the scene where Ellen Page rapes Rainn Wilson in their superhero costumes to direct Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. I would have loved to see that board meeting as like, so guys, who should we get to write our PG-13 family friendly Marvel movie? Who should we get? I got it. James Gunn. The guy who had Ellen Page rape Rainn Wilson. Dwight from The Office getting raped by Juno. So yeah, Lloyd is great. He's super funny. Like the nicest guy ever. I'm jealous James has got to meet him and worked with him twice on an Angry Video Game Nerd review for Toxic Crusader. That's like if I got fucking Sam Raimi to get in my room and review the Spider-Man 2 game. That's how awesome it is because they play Toxic Crusader's video game. That is great.
Research shows gamers these days are playing games they hate. They think bad is the new good.
So now it's time to talk about the actual movie. So basically, this big game company called Cockburn Inc. Is basically I think basically a lot. Sorry, they realize one of their people who wants to do their first big project realizes that a lot of these days people are playing games they hate, like bad video games. Kind of like a lot of people these days, because of all these internet reviews, watch movies like The Room, which are terrible. They're still funny because they're so bad they're good. I mean, I have a local theater that plays The Room all the time, like all the time here where I live. So yeah, bad movies have been really popular, mostly because of those angry reviews. Now, this company realizes, so what else is getting popular are horrible video games because of the angry video game nerd. So what they plan to do is to create the sequel to E.T. called E.T. 2, but in this movie it's called E.T. with two E's at the end because they weren't allowed to use the name E.T. But somehow they use the game footage. I don't know why. Don't ask me, but I don't know. Oh, and they give E.T. a mustache. So there's that too. I mean, this movie's already cheesy enough, but that's taking the cake right there. I don't know. Well, that's how the movie really begins. We get this little, we get this little story. We get a little story about the background of this story. Well, not the story, but the story within the movie about the landfill. So now we get the whole story about how Swarshaw was given 5 weeks to make the movie, and drawings all done by Mike Monte, the nerd's friend, and how we get the landfill, and how it was all done and Atari went bankrupt. So yeah, we get the little cool little intro, all narrated by Mandi, who is one of the co-stars of the movie, Sarah Glendon, I believe that's how you pronounce her name. And that's how we get. That's how, if you don't know the backstory, the nerd does a pretty good job of kind of just putting it out, how it kind of begins, how it all starts, how it all came together. Sorry, I dropped something. So yeah, that's how the audience who isn't familiar with the story, like I said, is thrown into this like fish out of water story for anybody who doesn't know about E.T. Now it's all explained, so now you know. Okay, this game is so infamous that it got thrown away. That's how bad everyone hated it, and it was a big financial failure.
The new generation!
And for him to endorse it, it's almost too brilliant.
So the character we see, who was narrating the intro, is at a board meeting about their new game, E.T. 2, telling them that people play bad games now because of this guy called the Angry Video Game Nerd, and they want them to endorse it so they can sell the game better. But here's the catch. They're not going to make it better than the original. They're going to make it worse to cut back on cost and double profits, meaning people really want to play a shitty E.T. game. So, that's kind of like how we get the plot, and then we get this great intro. Now, what I love about this intro, it feels so nerd. It's basically him, like all these cuts between him reviewing a shitty game between, I think, Xenophobe and some weird rip-off Mario game because they can't use real Mario. Him talking about like shit like they just trick you with their cool covers, so the game's shit, stuff like that. But when really I was like stripping off kids with a heart on that one's funny, like, just like nerd quips, or like one of my favorites, like it's easier to take fly shit out of pepper while wearing boxing gloves. Like, natural nerd observational humor, which James is great at. It's just why I love this intro. It feels like the nerd movie when you watch it, and then when the credits hit on roll, it says the angry video game nerd movie. You get this great score, and I'm just gonna show you a little snippet to show you just how awesome the score is. Right when it gets to the crescendo, like dun, 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 credits pop up, man, audience goes crazy. Now this movie sold out twice in where I live, and all right, so yeah. It sold out twice. It's crazy. And it was shown in a pretty big theater. I mean, it was a show where they show a lot of independent folks. But I think it's the reason they showed in that theater, because I originally thought, well, if it's independent, why didn't they show in the Angelica? But in the shooter I throw, they show a lot of B movies. They have like Midnight Movie Madness, where they put like Evil Dead, all these like big cheesy B movies. They sometimes play like Mars Attacks, all that stuff. So it fit right in there. So yeah. I think that's cool. So here you go, a little clip of the music. When that note hits right there, when it says the big title on screen, you know you're watching the Angry Video Game Nerd movie. And you are. Like I said, the opening is him reviewing a shitty game, while there's a lot of, it's kind of hard to explain this opening without getting into my mixed emotions about it. He reviews the game with intercut fan videos. Now imagine for some fucking reason, my honest reviews show had a movie. How would you like it if literally every time I'm reviewing the movie, you get a laugh out of this little dumb line, and then all of a sudden, you get these videos like, Ramiro, you're so awesomeness. Love the Ramiro. I'm sure that's like, there's literally a part that says, love the nerd. Like, it cuts like this, but, like, it's just so weird. It's like almost as if James wants everybody to know he's a big celebrity, even though we're going to see a big budget, well, low budget, but big budget compared to the videos. Big movie on the big screen in a theater, sold out theater. Of course, you already know you're famous as hell in the fan community, but in this movie, like, it just shows a bit him. Like, you can just show everyone laughing at his videos, which is just fine because it's people in that universe are liking his videos. But instead, you show real people who love the nerd on screen. Like, I can understand if, let's say, someone sent fan videos to him and he put them in the movie, just as a gracious thing. I don't know. These videos were made just for the movie. How do I know? It's actually kind of a sad story. If any of you are familiar with the Nerds Associates, thatwayglasses.com, one of their major contributors, Jew Wario, committed suicide earlier that year, and he had a video made for the review. And he is at the very end, it's like nerd fan videos. At the very end, it says Justin Caramel or something like that. Justin Caramel. I can't pronounce his last name, I'm sorry, but Jew Wario. It says in memory. So all those videos were made for the movie, which makes it even more kind of ego stroking in my opinion. Now, it's not a bad thing, it just kind of irks me a lot. I'm like, this could have been an even better intro without those videos. I mean, I like them, but seriously, like, you gotta show, don't tell. Don't tell me how awesome the nerd is. Show me him reviewing the game with people watching the review intercut with it, not people tell me how awesome the nerd is, because I know how awesome the nerd is. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, this is really cool. Like, everyone says how awesome the nerd is reviewing the game, but really, it should have just been the game review intercut of the characters in the game watching the reviews. But other than that very, very small pet peeve, this is a great intro. It really feels like you're on the big screen watching nerd review a game is like awesome. I'm watching a big nerd review, and like holy shit, this is gonna be awesome. And then, oh my god, after a great intro, the nerd fucking throws a game through the window. It smashes and does a fucking Decepticon. It breaks into Decepticon outline, and then it says directed by Kevin Finn and James Rolfe. And then this fucking happens. Who the fuck is this guy?
Perfect take, nerd.
Where's
Nice
fucking
throw,
Mike
man.
Matei?
Jeremy
Jeremy Suarez. So apparently, they got Jeremy Suarez from the Bernie Mac show, one of the worst parts of the Bernie Mac show, and cast him as a new character called Cooper, who we never meet, and they have to fact the fact that he's Nerd's friend. Now, I'm not gonna blame James here. He probably wanted Mike, but there's two things that stop that doing. One, Mike is very honest with himself. He's not an actor. He's very camera shy, which probably means why most of his roles in the AV Gen videos is him in a silly costume getting the shit beat out of him, and playing dumb characters like Motherfucker Mike, or just himself in James and Mike Mondays. You know, just playing video games. Yeah. I don't know. Two. There was a post that everyone makes fun of. I don't know why. It's just silly. Basically, James' wife posted one time how apparently she thinks Cinemassacre should have more broad female viewing and stop being a white Caucasian sausage fest. So she really, really pushed for racial diversity. So we got a black character named Cooper, who is very underdeveloped, has some really shitty lines, but is enduring in a way because the actor, it's not bad. He's just kind of annoying. So basically, he takes a lot of thunder from the nerd, saying some really funny. Nerd says a funny line, he says a bad line. His funniest line is a reference to one of the old episodes, which was, "It's better to be pissed off than pissed on," which it was funny because his delivery is good, but it was already funny to me because it's a reference to one of the old videos, which I am a very huge fan of. And I like this movie somewhat, but oh my god, there's so many problems with it. Mostly with writing, but I can't blame James. He's used to writing just commenting on shitty video games, which he's amazing at, as you can see in the beginning and later in the movie. So basically, he's out of his comfort zone, so I can't really blame him. He's a decent comedy writer, but story and character-wise, he's a little iffy. I mean, I love the characters in the AVGN reviews. The Game Glitch, Super Mega Death Christ, who should have been in this movie. I mean, come on, man. It's not an angry video movie without him. And he didn't take a shit in this movie, so fuck that. Fuck that noise, man. Turns out Cooper is his fellow video game store employee. Which brings me to one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I don't know. The guy they got to play the angry boss is so awesome. Played by none other than fucking Eddie Pepitone, man. One of my favorite comedians ever. I don't think I given this movie enough props for casting, man. Like, seriously. The fact they got so many great actors in one movie from a low budget web series is awesome. Just goes to show the kind of star power that James Rolfe has now. Like, seriously, dude, this is awesome. Now, Pepitone outrages the nerd in this movie, which, to be honest, not that hard. He's more of the cynical asshole nerd in this movie. He's not very angry, which kind of kills the point of it being an angry video game nerd movie. He's more angry. The most angry he gets is at a stupid video game at the beginning, which is kind of lame. But at least we get Pepitone screaming into his cell phone and shouts out some pretty shitty lines, but his delivery just makes it. How he shouts is just great. Now let me get to the other new cast member, which is Mandi, who I liked a lot more in Cooper. One, because she's a hot girl. Two, she has more of a character than being the annoying sidekick. She actually takes care of herself and does shit. Cooper literally does almost nothing in this movie other than annoy the nerd and pester him to review ET. So, yeah. Like, seriously. The nerd could have done all this without Cooper's help. Actually, I'll get into why Cooper is even more of a just help than you would need to think. Okay. So, like I said, Mandi wants the nerd to do a big game review for Cockburn Inc. As a lot of you fans know, he's not wearing his signature glasses. Well, that's kind of funny because I'll explain that right now. Let me just click play. You see, the nerd made him wear the different type of thick frame glasses to see the different nerd from the web review. But what's weird is, on the car side of the Cockburn car, it has him with his normal nerd glasses, which is weird because you would think maybe because they're referencing the videos. That's not true. In his videos in this movie, he's wearing the same glasses. So I don't know if that was a mistake or just a thing for the nerds part, but I don't know. Just kind of irks me. So basically, Cooper been emailing Mandi. They've been interchanging emails, and then she wants to get Nerd to review ET2, at least ET2, but then the nerd doesn't want to. And Mandi describes herself as like the hottest gamer girl ever. So nerd wasn't on to because he thinks he has to review the original, and that's when he get this idea to go to the landfill to dispose that ET is not real. The legend of landfill isn't real. So Cooper gets Mandi to give him a budget to have a trip down to New Mexico and get the excavation team they need. So Mandi agrees that in only one condition, the nerd reviews the new ET game. So they have to agree, and now we get a road trip. This movie should have been a road trip with Guitar Guy and Mac Matei, and it would have been like a nice comedy. That would have been a lot better than what we got. But I still kind of like this movie quite a bit.
Tough now.
Darn. Just when I was finally warming up to the idea.
Really?
No.
One of my main problems with this movie, as I see the clip I played just now, that was one of the nerd's best cynical nerd moments, being the angry video game nerd. Like, darn, just when I was finally warming up to the idea. That's sarcasm, that's just that. No. That's typical nerd. There should be a lot more about that in the movie. This movie is just him kind of trying to save the fan, and make him very sympathetic, which is good, but they need to work more on the angry part. I wanted more nerd getting angry, more nerd cussing, maybe taking a dump. Taking a dump on the new ET game. That would have been great. But, he does puke on Mandi, so that's pretty good. And, I just love the ADR in that scene.
That nerd.
I don't know, man. That's like the closest thing I ever get to nerd taking a shit in this movie. But the way he's ADR'd is like, it just sounds amazing and cheap to me. I like it, that fucking ADR, man. So yeah. So that's a good starting point for the rest of this review. Now I'm gonna stop this video right now a little bit and just let you guys know I am going to spoil the shit out of this movie. Like I said, it's the Retrospective review. We'll go almost every detail to the point. So I'm gonna pause a little bit and let you guys give it a chance to stop the video before I spoil anything more. That night I remember when you slipped in my glass. We came robotic when I foamed out the mouth like the lights winked at me. And now its shape is kept. Eraser turning it so permanent. Would you catch your left eye when it blinks 3 times for once just to seal you in? With your drunken breath and a stain like us in place of poison heat. I gotta wear this roll of your own touches on your hopes in a casket. Give me that comfy, the one I torn nightly. I really want it now. Folding off slowly, don't want it to hold me. It feels just like a glove. Does it make you feel alright? Yeah. Okay, that should be enough time. So if you're wondering what James is reacting to, he's reacting to the final cut of this movie. But no, really, it was reacting to the footage of the new ET game, which is like horrible, but on purpose. So basically, James agrees, and that's how we get set off on this journey. And the montage is okay. It's just has a really annoying song in it, and gladly Jamie Suarez tops it. It was like, nerds over birds. Where did I feta? It's over so. It's like some Geddy Lee motherfuckers on the vocals, but they couldn't get Geddy Lee. So anyway, so by the time we get to the landfill, you can pretty much tell there's a lot of things showing that Mandi is definitely not a gamer. She loses the shit pickle game they have. Well, a game with shit pickle inside it. And she's all like, "You should kill that guy. You should kill that guy over there." And it's like Cooper's like, "That's me." I could need that kind of more humor, you know. And oh, I didn't even get into the nerd's dumb rule. Well, in the beginning of the film, he says, "Nerds over birds," meaning bros before hoes, which is just fellow nerds before girls. So he doesn't really trust Mandi. So the fact that she's lying to them makes a little bit of makes her intention, but really that gets thrown out the window for some stupid plot point that makes no sense. But I'll get into that later. So by the time we get to the landfill, it turns out the FBI or whatever military people are looking for people around the Area 51 area because Roswell is a little bit down there. So by the time they get there, they're being heard by the nerd. Oh, wait, I have to explain something even stupider. This movie's already getting far-fetched, but this is nothing. So apparently Cooper believes in Santa, he believes in the Earth is flat, and he believes in death, death,
and I'm like, what? Death what? And he says, death mosks. And I'm like, death what?
God, I still don't know how to pronounce this name.
Death.
Say it.
Moth sticks?
Moths. Death Mothra? No.
More 6. So it's more and then a
Death Mothith.
Death Mothix. There we go. That took forever. So yeah, not even the crew can say what this name is. And talk about movie continuity issues in this movie. I'm wearing a different shirt, and the lighting's different every fucking take. This review is gonna take a long time, man. Just getting all this footage is taking forever. Yeah. So, no, not this footage. It's just easy. I'm talking about like the nerd movie footage, because, geez, I gotta download so much of it just to use these little clips, and still use clips around and cut around it and then edit it together, man. It's crazy. Anyway, so yeah, Cooper believed in this super mega death god who created Earth, Satan, and God, and was hiding in Mount Fuji and can destroy all existence with the turn of a satellite. If you think that's stupid, wait till you see what comes up next. So while recording the landfill video, this movie's gonna be T. The FBI military guys think, well, they're looking for an extraterrestrial because they're close to Roswell and Area 51. So now guess what? They're going to get chased by a military guy, despite the hate. So yeah, they get chased by a military dude, and basically, this guy's awesome. Like, as silly and stupid. Now, I don't say stupid in a bad way, because this is what the nerd movie should be. Stupid, silly. But this is a little too over the top, but I can handle it. I love this kind of B-movie crap. And it's not even crap. It's just gloriously funny and stupid. And I love it. Yeah, I wish there was... I don't know. I wish there was more stuff like this, but then it gets way too convoluted. And James isn't really the great screenwriter to kind of mold it all together. It just seems kind of weird and far out there and not really well explained sometimes. I'll get to it later. But yeah, we get General Dark Onward, who is just awesome. Where's my fucking arm? He's just the right amount of over the top, but there's one part that goes a little too far. I'll get into what it is. Like, I don't know, I'll get there when we get there, because, man, we're not even close. So just to recap for you who are still watching, thank you. Basically, I already said there's gonna be spoilers. So basically, he said the nerd doesn't like girls, doesn't want to review ET, works at a video game store, gets pestered by fans who. Actually, I missed a little part point here. The nerd apparently likes to protect his fans from bad video games, and that's why he does his review. And then this is a little cool part. I don't know if I have the trailer, but basically. I don't know if it's in the trailer. I don't know. I should probably get it. But like, there's this little kid that goes, "Oh, angry video game nerd. Ooh, I saw your review. I was laughing my ass off. I had to go to eBay just to see how bad the game was. And oh man, you were right. Then he began so like, no, 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 don't do that. You're not supposed to. I mean, basically, IGN does all this to protect his fans, so that's why he goes out to find the ET game to say, no, there's nothing down there. There's nothing mystical about the game. Which, he's in for a surprise. So yeah, that's as far as we got, and then we get that little road trip montage with nerds, overboard, overboard. I mean, we are literally like half an hour into this movie, and the plot just begins. Barely. I mean, I don't mind setup, but this is the nerd is good when he's commenting on stuff. Here he's just getting kind of messed. He doesn't even get pissed off. He's just, he doesn't even realize I can't even get pissed off and it mean anything anymore. Which kind of means this movie is kind of not being the nerd movie. Just kind of James in his nerd get up doing a crazy sci-fi B movie thing. And I'm going to get more into that why it's a problem with me, at least, for a nerd movie and this movie in general. What else should I talk about right now? A song, Jerry Awkward, he has this little person that follows him around called McButter, who's pretty great. She has great scenes being the straight man out of the two, because Onward is way too crazy. I think originally they planned McButter to be just as crazy as Onward, but they thought they needed a straight man and else for all this silliness to play, which is a good idea, really. A straight man is needed for a contrast, or at least some kind of backing point. Like, maybe this guy's too crazy. We need someone to show and lampshade how crazy this guy is to get the effect, and not to seem over the top, too over the top.
At first, I thought we needed someone who was also very over the top. But then we saw Helena Barrett, and she played it really straight, and it was perfect.
So now that they know they're being chased by the FBI, they're trying to see what's going on. So Cooper decides to go for the source. Now, if you remember carefully earlier in the review, and the clip is all like, I guess doing the AT review is hard now because the game was destroyed by a gun by the FBI guys. And you'll see why later too. Basically, it looks like it came back together, and the nurse says it can't be real. So they go see Scott Warshaw, but instead are shot at and introduced by a new character in the movie, who is probably my third favorite actor in the movie, and probably the best guy who has a recurring, like, a big role.
I want to ask you some questions about E.T. E.T.? Eat lead, you FBI scum! Oh!
It turns out it's not Warshaw, it's a guy named Dr. Xandar.
And when we went to the audition and we saw Time Winters, we knew he was it.
So, Time tests their, not being FBI by, I am not kidding, putting them in a real life video game. So, they actually never explain how this happened, but it's okay. Basically, James is going in, like, whoa, what? This is a fucking lava pit? I just hit something, and then, like, a shell comes out, and the little platform you see comes out. So, Time Winters' character is like, Dr. Xandar is like, you must be gamers. Only a gamer would think at hitting at nothing, hoping that a secret item will be unlocked. And then they get to this thing that, I don't know if this has been referred to later, but he says, and something tells me you're not just a gamer, but the gamer, to the nerd. And this is when everything goes too far, but it's so great, so cheesy, but I'll get to why it's also a problem later.
I was a rising star in their aerodynamics program.
So it turns out Dr. Xandar was positioned to be an aerodynamics program where the actual E.T. Roswell ship crashed down, and, well, they're going to use the foil-looking metal to make the spaceship for their evil plans. But Xandar quits, it gets fired, he steals the metal, and then so as revenge, he puts the area of plans, like the whole floor plan of the FBI military base, in the E.T. game. So the E.T. game is actually a map to Area 51, because apparently Scott Warshaw was part of the game, and he was really impressed how he can put so many secrets in a game. And since the game was destined to be a failure, no one was going to play it. So it's the best way to hide it. So that's why E.T. apparently sucks, which is kind of a cool explanation, but They don't really elaborate on it. It's just kind of like it's just there. But it turns out there's also another reason. The real E.T. is in Area 51 locked up, and it's the map to find him. What? I really need to soundproof my room. That's the nerd's face for most of this movie. So they decide to stay at Xandar because it's pretty much the safest place in the house. Because, like in the game, this is apparently why this happens. So he has a radar detector that every time the phone pieces are in a different place, the same thing with his house. So it's on a radar. It looks like it's moving around with an electromagnetic interface that was used in the game. It was his own creation, which is great because that means no one can find out where, how to beat the game and get to the ET. So basically, this plan is foolproof, but it's stupid and makes no sense how he can make this in the 80s and still be able to use it today. I mean, it's just, what's the point, really? Like, E.T. is actually sucked because of Floor Planet Area 51. Okay, that's not a good plot to a movie, but it really needs to, you know, get into it more, mold it into the story, not just make it a plot device to get, well, you'll see later on why it kind of fails at the end. But yeah, so they stay there because it's the safest place, and we get treated to this really shitty joke. Seamless edit right there. Yeah. So the nerd is impressed that not only there's games in the landfill, but there's so much grander scheme behind it that'll make the game even more popular. So Mandi comes in this room. I know to cheer you up. So we get this really dumb scene, like I showed, with them playing Nintendo games. Because apparently Nintendo World Games is what cheers up the nerd, and and then Sandar's in the bottom hearing them go faster. Yeah, it's so hard. I know. And then just like the cheesiest sex sounding game. Then you got the and then like don't use your hands. Come on, that's cheating. And yeah, just that snippet alone from the trailer, by the way, and that's the trailer joke because that's one of the funniest jokes to put in the trailer. Because most comedy trailers do that, they put their best of the best so people will watch the movie. I'm like, well, if that's the best you got, you should totally get some new jokes because that seems really forced and it's way too long. Like we get it, it's just really awkward, especially if like watching the movie with your parents or something. I don't know why you would, but like, no, mom, it's okay. They're playing Nintendo. That's what's going on. Like, sure. Next time I hear you masturbating. You're playing with your little joystick, playing a Zelda game, playing Rob the Robot, going, yeah, Rob, come on. So yeah, it's just not a great joke. I forgot to mention, this actually comes into play. Apparently the cloaking device is so grand and so that it cuts out TV reception and phone, which is stupid because you clearly see Xandar watching TV, but then if the plot needs it, Mandi's phone goes out when he's trying to call Cockburn. Well, Cockburn's calling her to go to the landfill, but she's, no, don't go to the landfill. Like, go to the landfill? Okay, I'll go to the landfill. Like, they're really silly. You know, I like the guy who plays Cockburn. He's so over the top. He's played by Bob Reed, who he's a pretty prolific actor. He's been acting for 50 years now. And he said he looked like playing like Bugs Bunny, Mel Blanc characters, like Mel Blanc voice characters. Like there's gonna be snacks. There's gonna be gamers gaming with each other, tats, like that kind of dialogue delivery is great. But like I said, it works just fine earlier in the same fucking scene. But just when the plot needs it, Mandi's phone reception is going around because her boss is calling her about the nerd game review, and she goes out, and guess what? She fucking gets captured. Ooh, face. I had to do that. Also, do not watch the most pointless remake of all time, Cabin Fever, the remake. Not just 14 years after the original. What the fuck? And could you at least make it better? But it didn't. It sucks. So Cooper is getting suspicious of the nerd and Mandi bonding together, makes him kind of jealous. So he goes out and claims Mandi is a secret agent just because her glasses are fake and that she knows way too much about the landfill and military, which really she doesn't show any knowledge of it, which makes it just comes out of nowhere. Like just because she says, "Oh, this and this," she knows about Roswell. Everyone knows about Roswell. Even the fucking nerd whose expertise is video game knows about Roswell. So to get this whole plot of the nerd being betrayed by Mandi, well, betrayed, that she's really not a gamer. So he's like, she delivers one of the worst lines I've heard in this movie. Like, it's like a girl. You share a joystick with her and she breaks it. Like, what the hell? Like, does the nerd have his joystick broken many times? Is this what he goes? Like, every time I meet a girl, she breaks my joystick. Like, I mean, props to nerd's delivery because he actually feels genuine, but the actual writing of the line is just, I mean, it's like when Sam Raimi, it's like if I was a director, like in Sam Raimi, when he goes up to Bruce, I can imagine like Kevin Finn, the co-director, going up to Nerd, like Sam Raimi is like, Sam Raimi wants this to Bruce Campbell, like, I know, I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say, give me some sugar, baby. I can imagine Kevin Finn going like, hey, James, I got the perfect line. You're gonna say, you let give your girl a joystick, she breaks it. That's exactly what I imagine. So they're not gonna save the girl because they think she's a secret agent. But you know what's gonna happen? Yeah, the landfill gets out. The fans are there. Guitar guy and Mike are there too. Why wasn't there in the movie more? Like seriously, you get two underdeveloped characters who they're okay, I like them too. But you could have gotten Kyle Justin, guitar guy, and Mike, motherfucking Mike, man, to be in the movie as his friends. Like, what's the point? It's an AVGN movie. Why? Who are these guys? Who's Cooper? Who's Mandi? They just come out of nowhere. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I find it hard pill to swallow to say Cooper and the nerd are friends, even though Cooper is super annoying and the nerd is super mad and all the time, and Cooper's super happy. It's supposed to be a contrast, but I don't really see it. It just seems like they really tacked on Cooper as the annoying side character. And so basically, the nerd finds out that Cockburn had made a fucking tribute to the old game by selling the new game at the landfill.
I hold before you the new game for the new generation!
Seriously, if you pause the movie at any time, someone making a funny face, either a nerd doing the, or Mandy's, ooh, or Cockburn's, the new generation, or just Steve Mundell as Onward, I'm still alive, where's my fucking arm? Like, the acting's so choppy, so shitty, it's a B movie. This movie's a B movie. Just the kind of movie I want James to make, but make it more of a B movie. It doesn't have to be a nerd movie, come on. I want James to make a movie he wants to make, but he never made the nerd movie out of love. It's a labor of love, so I can't fault him like that. So basically, the nerd goes to see the fucking game and tell him it's bullshit. And they just go home because one of the things I don't like is like they trust the nerd so much. Like one guy's like, shit, this thing is bullshit. What should we do? Hey man, if the nerd says it's bullshit, it's bullshit. Like they trust the nerd so much. But then one of the best part of the movie happens. A cameo that came out of nowhere, if you haven't seen the behind the scenes footage. Howard Scott Warshaw's in the movie, the creator of E.T. Yeah. And guess what? He speaks in this movie. So, the nerd says, come on, man, tell him it's not real. He gives him the megaphone. It's like, gamers, the legend of the landfill is true. And it is an Area 51 map and leads you to the true treasure, the real E.T., which was Xandar's friend who wants to save, which is one of the main reasons he put it in the game so he can one day find him. So, guess what? Everyone out happy that landfill's true. Yeah! And then Warshaw tells him, I've seen your videos, nerd. You're a blunt man. So, we don't hide things. The truth, nerd. That's what we should look for. The truth. Wouldn't it be a lot better place if everyone told the truth? So he leaves. Everyone's happy. Landfill's true story. And now they know it's Area 51. Now they know there's a real ET alien. And the nerd's like, no, this can't be. There's nothing mystical about that game. There's not a map to Area 51 and there's no alien. And then Cooper's like, come on, man, who cares? But what, you can't prove it? And guess what? He's going to break it into Area 51. Woo!
Are you crazy? Do you have any clue where Area 51 even is?
Between Area 50 and 52?
Sorry for my little bit of Ric Flair moment there, the Nature Boy. Woo! But yeah, one of my main problem about this movie, it's so cool. The opening's great, and then it goes down. Then it goes up again with the whole little road trip. Then the great military guy. Then it goes down with the over explaining the backstory. Then it goes up with a Rorschach cameo, and then it goes even up with the Area 51 scene because it's great. Lots of nerd humor, man. You know, a little bit of practical, a lot of stuff, and like, oh my god, it's so cool. Like holy shit, man. I'm not kidding. Uh, well, okay, before I get into how awesome it is, we get this shitty line.
The nerd's work is never done.
After this shitty line, we get break into Area 51. And this is where the movie really starts to pick up. Like, there's some great nerd jokes. Like, after he knocks out the people about to operate on him, thinking he's an alien, after he became into a saucer with a fake-ass alien costume, he tries to get out, and it says, oh, retinal scanner. And then it looks closely, it says, rectal scanner? Okay, then it, like, puts the guy's ass to it. And yeah, actually, it's kind of funny. What's his name? Jeremy's playing. Cooper's playing the game. It's like, Cooper, come in. Area 51 is the game. Like, how close is it? Like, just to be honest, he wasn't very subtle. So literally, the three houses are there, and in the background are the holes. So that's Area 51. And Cooper plays the game to try to help him out, and the nerd gets captured.
See now that your greatest weakness is not the hate you have for that game, but the love you have for your fans.
So we get this very great she's scene of, we're not so different, you and I. We both want this game to be reviewed. So he almost convinces him to play the game to try to get him into Area 51 and try to tell him what it is. So that's when Nerd reveals that Xandar replaced all their metal with foil, which cancels this pretty great line. Foil! Oh, foil! My plans have been foiled. So he goes back in, and that's what he tells him, that line I just showed, and threatens to blow up his family. No, you can't do that. Winters is there. No, Xandar. And that's when he tells him about the foil. So he says, you know what? I'll blow up your fucking Mount Fuji. And you can guess what happens after that. Like, it's pretty obvious. If it's not obvious to you, please go back to look at my death.It joke, and then you'll know. Bum, da. So basically, it's a lot of hoopla for a big monster destruction scene, which is great. But I would kind of think it's a reference to Superman Death Cry. It's just really bad writing. So basically, Cooper tries to help the nerd play in the game. Mandi's been captured, but we'll see what happens to that. And the nerd is still trapped, and Super Mega Death Cry has been unleashed just because, for no reason, really is bad writing. Onward wants to destroy Mount Fuji, and he's released. He was awakened. And we get some pretty bad CGI, like people running around while the Mothless destroys crap. Like, seriously, dude, couldn't get better chroma keying than that. So yeah, so Cooper plays the game, and this happens. Now we know E.T. is real. Now we're introduced to E.T., voiced by none other than fucking Michelangelo himself, Robbie fucking Ritz.
Far out, unimaginable, fucked up enigma of nature, way out.
I could just watch a whole video documentary of Robbie just voicing a character like that. Like, seriously. Right now I'm using natural light for my window, as you can tell from my glasses. And looks pretty good. I like illuminating my face, so that way it looks like I'm actually putting some effort in these videos. But I don't know, the light's already. I don't know. This looks good. So I'm telling you, man, when you're watching this video, like I'm recording it over so many days, it's gonna look crazy. But anyway, yeah. So the nerd finds out their hoaxes are real. I mean, Tupac's there. Elvis is there, Michael Jackson's there, so it's really stupid. Then we get this really shitty robot with like mechanical looking robots like cardboard boxes, and they leave. And now we have to save the fans from Dark Onward. And this is when we're revealed what happened to all the space foil. It's in the cartridges for the E.T. game. Like, really? And that's when we get all these cameos. When the E.T. games listed, we get fucking Lloyd Kaufman! Like, all these E.T. games are flying everywhere. It's awesome. I wonder how James got Lloyd Kaufman to star in this not-so-stellar movie. Wine bubble.
Did James Rolfe pay you or did he blow you?
Well,
both. Yes.
So you've talked about the...
That idiot who asked that stupid question.
Yes.
He's filming. Where's this going? What's he going to do with that film on it? Now I'm worried. Any rate, Seth, you had a question.
I would like to hear the response to this, and I can't wait to see it on film.
Did James Rolfe blow me?
No.
Whoa, how did that get there? I don't know, it's not like I edited it in. So we also get this other cameo, which is a total surprise if you don't know what James was like outside of his reviews and AVGN.
The space battle! The pieces to the ship! I put them in the safest spot imaginable! In the hands of all the children! They're inside the E.T. games!
Nostalgic critic. Play it again, Johnny. According to some assholes, finger popping each other's asshole. Sorry, 21 Jump Street reference. Oh yeah. So yeah. According to some assholes, that's the funniest part of the movie. Then again, they probably don't have a sense of humor. They think the Walker screaming is the funniest part of the movie. No, this movie has a lot of funny parts. Although I will say this, a lot of jokes are hit or miss, and a lot of the funnier jokes are just references to the original series, which really show that James is not very good comedic writer if it's not him riffing on stuff. He would be great as like some kind of on a MSC movies, you know, the MSK3 guys movie, yeah, the movie 3000, Mystery Theater 3000 guys, yeah, he'd be great as one of those because that's what he does. But writing an actual movie with actual jokes that don't riff stuff is where you have his faults. But I don't blame him. A lot of people actually blame Kevin Finn because everyone thinks James is funny. I have no idea how much influence Kevin had on the script. Actually, I have more idea how much James Wife's had into friends with the girl minorities, the black guy, and I'll get into that even more in the ending. But oh my god, what the fuck? With all that stuff happening, we get the Super Mega Death Christ guy who should have been Super Mega Death Christ destroying shit. Yeah. I love how cheap and cheesy
the only review,
the practical effects were. The movie cover used this is from a movie calling about a really cheap, low budget VHS movie. It was actually a negative review, but they still used it. But they called it like a success or something, like a winner. Sorry for burping, guys. That was not very ladylike of me. No, I'm not transgender. Fuck the Wachowskis. Sorry, you just haven't made a good movie in years. Speed Racer is their last good movie. Now back to the monster practical effects smashing like Banzilla fanboys like me love. Yeah. Oh yeah, and James Rolfe loves him too, or else he wouldn't put him in this movie. Oh, and some digital effects. Why, James? Why? Why Black Dynamite?
Travels from Mount Fuji to San Francisco to Las Vegas. I always wanted to see a movie with a monster destroying Las Vegas, because Las Vegas is like all the famous landmarks combined into one. All the major buildings were made by a team of Robin Brockway, Scotty Schieffer, and Chris Hillman.
I showed you that little clip of the special features edition, a little documentary. It's just on YouTube. Check it out. You can see that this movie was mostly practical effects, which is great. So many Hollywood movies today rely so much on CGI. No, CGI was good. This movie uses a lot of digital effects, but it's like the mask and put together digital shots with practical effects to make it look better. But the movie looks cheap as fuck, which is good, except for the running away sequence, like I showed you earlier, with the agents running away from Death Moculus looks like crap. but that's just bad chroma keying, and I can't really fault James for that. Chroma keying in the nerd episodes aren't that great, but I would imagine if you have a fucking movie budget, you would do better. But hey, shame on you, James. Shame on you. But the movie's effects are great. I just love it when the little miniatures are destroyed. It's just great. And so I'm going to show you a little bit more of what the monster's big rampage is. Kaboosh! Blammo! Shaga! Shabadaya! Woo boom! These monster things are so awesome. I can just watch an entire movie of James making a monster movie, which would have been awesome. But it feels so out of place in this movie. The only reason it was open, that he came open, because Onward just shot the Mount Fuji just because he was mad. This just came out of nowhere, like Super Mega Death Christ. So in the midst of all this, Mandi, like pretty much really Mandi with an I instead of a Y, is fighting for her life because Cooper's dumbass, she gets kidnapped. And the Foley, the impact noise. You can't get dumber. They can't get dumber, not dumber, sillier than that. So Cooper tries to rescue Mandi, but in another scene we see James has made a Nintendo fly, and then they go. Now they go to stop this monster, this indestructible monster with, like I said, turn of his laser beam can fucking destroy humanity. So James shoots the laser beam, makes it go up, and what happens next is so dumb, I don't understand. Oh, quick note, it was James that saved her with E.T.'s ship, and by laser beam I meant satellite dish. So, yeah, edit that in, bitch. And with by her, I meant Mandi, who else, but, you know, people are very unclear about things, and I have to over-explain, too, and I'm a reviewer, so, yeah, and as much editing as this is nothing. So now back to stupidness. He puts on glasses and fucks off. That was such an anticlimactic finish, and James thought Turtles 2 ending sucked, with Super Shark being bitten by wood, but this guy just fucks off. He just fucks off, puts on dumb glasses, fucks off. What the hell? That's like if in the middle of in the World's End. Sorry, I'm gonna spoil the World's End, but when the network fucks off, it's all like and fucks off for no reason. The ending of the aliens fucking off in the World's End makes more sense than this. I mean, maybe James tried to cover it by saying, oh, it's because he's a goofball. But no, doesn't cover it up. He's a goofball. It doesn't mean he just fucks off after trying to destroy the universe for no apparent reason other than lazy writing. Ugh, I don't know. It pissed me off because I was so into him destroying shit. Now he just leaves because he wants to fuck off? That's it. So now... Oh, Onward. What happened to that guy? Yeah, he died by miniature. Yeah, he's dead. He fucking dies. Fuck him. So they kill their most over-the-top greatest actor. So what? He's bad guy. Die. And finally, the nerd lands the thing. E.T. is about to be shipped off. He reviews the second game. But before E.T. gets shipped off, he puts the cartridges to play the original game and review it during the credits, which is an awesome ending because that's the nerd movie. That's my main problem. Only the first scene and the last scene feel like a nerd movie with him reviewing the games. But the whole movie doesn't even feel like a nerd movie. Like, there's some bits in here that's nerd jokes, but they're all recycled jokes from the series. The only new nerd joke that was funny was a rectal scanner. That was funny to me. But seriously, what the hell? This could have been any of his characters. Could have been Bored James, and this movie would have the same effect. So this doesn't even feel like a nerd movie most of the time. That's my main problem. It really lags. The two main plot points with E.T. being Area 51 map, the fucking Death Moculus, just ended like this for no reason. Like, E.T. is just for finding E.T. so he can review the game. Death Moculus just fucks off so he can review the game. This would have been a better miniseries of him finding all this shit and reviewing the game instead of being a full-length 2-hour movie. This movie should have been cut down to 90 minutes. This movie is way too long. And yeah, but the best thing about this movie, the greatest thing, is James got his dream. He's always wanted to make a movie.
To maybe make a really big cult sensation, like maybe just have people going nuts in the theaters, like Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'd like to be the father of the short films, like Edgar Allan Poe is to short stories. Lifelong dream has always been to make movies. Simple as that. I don't know why I chose that path. I guess because I wasn't good at sports or any of the things that all the other kids were doing. So I pursued the arts and grew up making movies. Filmmaking is such a collaborative process that it helped me get over my social issues and my low self-esteem. High school and college friend Kevin was the first person I ever met who shared this same ambition. We vowed one day we will make a big movie, a feature film. We'll write it and direct it together. Since then we've lived in two separate parts of the country, but now after all these years we've reunited to make Angry Video Game Nerd the movie.
And they did make their big movie. Probably not the movie they expected, because when they vowed, AVGN wasn't even born yet. So basically they did, and it wasn't as great as I thought it was going to be, but it wasn't bad either. It was just this little meh for meh. Now, you know what would have been great? James is very talented. All his practical effects are great. Like, let me just show you one move. He worked so hard on this, okay? I wasn't going to plan to show you a bunch of monster destruction scenes, but I thought this scene sums up how hard making a movie is. This is just for one shot of a miniature. I am not kidding. This is like crazy in depth.
Expectations with a tiny nerd and alien in the cockpit. Those are great. For the sky, I tried a rear screen projection so that it would resemble a classic film, but when the projector was behind the screen, it made a terrible glare, so it would have to be projected from the front. The problem here was the shadows, so it was really tough finding a camera angle that would work. I hung the plane by a couple strings and put sparklers in the back. Once I light the sparklers, they can only burn for a few seconds. I used a fog machine to simulate clouds passing by, but the fog would linger too much, so I used a fan to make it blow past. But whenever I tried to light the sparklers, the fan would blow out the flame. So I had to light the sparklers first, and then quickly turn the fan on.
This movie shows James has the talent, but I wish this was a horror movie. Alright, so I'm shilling for James, but go check out his video, his little short called Better Off, The Deader the Better, which is just a great, gory, old homage to old Hollywood movies, Hollywood monster movies. So, zombies, by the way. So, I'm just so happy this was a success for him, because he has a family to support, he has a daughter, a wife, so this movie was a success, and I'm happy for that.
Welcome to the Egyptian Theater for the world premiere of Angry Video Game Nerd, the movie.
Premiere, I never thought it would become this big. It's crazy. This is where the first Hollywood premiere happened. Robin Hood in the 20s. Return of the Jedi premiered here, and now tonight we're adding to the list Angry Video Game Nerd, the movie. The death of it by now, but always makes it fun to keep seeing it again with a live audience. You make it awesome every single time.
Excellent. Well worth the wait.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Get discouraged that you need somebody to lift you up sometimes.
In the trenches for as long as we were making this movie, and just like, you know, obstacle after obstacle, hearing that stuff from you guys is what kept us going.
But hey, you know what? We sold out the Red and Gasoline right, next door to Comic-Con.
Not be more happy for James. He's an inspiration. He's very talented. He's inspired me to try harder. So did Brad Jones of Cinema Stop. But yeah, this guy, he made it. Hollywood premiere, sold out theaters everywhere, sold out here in Dallas too. And the funny thing about filmmaking is James sums it up so good here.
8 years of our lives flashed by in 2 hours.
What James said in that clip is true. You can literally spend years making a 90-minute movie, but once you get that audience reaction like he did with this movie, it's great, it's meaningful. So yeah, the movie wasn't that great. It wasn't bad though. And it was just a great movie experience to have all these fans in one big theater, like in Dallas, and watch the movie with them. So yeah, I will leave you one last thing. So thank you for watching.
Welcome to the Egyptian Theater for the world premiere of Angry Video Game Nerd, the movie.
You all ready to see this damn movie?
Are you fucking ready, New York City?
Thank you, Philadelphia.
It's going to be an awesome night. 8 years of our lives flashed by in 2 hours. Who's coming? Wow, Hollywood premiere. I never thought it would become this big. It's crazy. This is where the first Hollywood premiere happened. Robin Hood in the 20s. Return of the Jedi premiered here. And now tonight we're adding to the list Angry Video Game Nerd, the movie.
It's rare in life that you get to be in a room with 600 people and feel like we all are for the same thing and we all created the same thing. From the cast to the crew to our family and friends who supported us the whole way. And of course the fans who paid for the thing along supporting it for years. So round of applause for yourself. Thank you.
Obviously, we all did this together, so thank you so much.
All the times we've seen this movie like 1,000 times, we should be sick to death of it by now, but it always makes it fun to keep seeing it again with a live audience. You make it awesome every single time.
Excellent. Well worth the wait.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Better than I expected. 10 hours better. Way better.
It was like every movie combined.
You did it.
It's easy to get discouraged, that you need somebody to lift you up sometimes.
In the trenches for as long as we were making this movie, and just like, you know, obstacle after obstacle, hearing that stuff from you guys is what kept us going.
Awesome job.
Oh, thanks.
Nice job. Nice job.
But hey, you know what? We sold out the Red and Gasoline right, next door to Comic-Con, so thank you.
It's the 10th anniversary of the Angry Video Game Nerd. It's a big year. James has his movie coming out. He's just announced theaters all over the country, most of which sold out within 48 hours, some within 24 hours. This is huge, guys, and this is all because...
Thanks for believing in us and giving us your best. We really appreciate it.
And when somebody writes and directs something together, as we did, two pals like us, a lot of times sometimes it's James Rolfe, A&D, and Kevin Finn. That means they did it separately. They wrote it separately in two different places, rewrites, blah, blah, blah. They probably hate each other. Well, with us, we use an ampersand. It means we did it together. So whenever we go out and we come back and we did something we like, we say ampersands. Boom! I want to thank you guys. I want to give you all a big ampersand. Boom!
This is just 3 normal guys who were friends in high school who had a dream and said, hey, let's make a movie. And all these years later, here we are.